All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fight Before Christmas, game number 2, or 3. 3. It is side up 1-1, and spawning here in the top right corner of the map. Some clever tactics in that last game. We'll see if you can take a lead here. It's Axiom's Impact.
The bottom left as the red Zerg, it's Samsung Galaxy's Solar.
Now I want to test something. I saw some suggestions last game, but I didn't want to disrupt the game for it. Apparently you can turn on colorblind mode. What does that look like as an observer?
Us?
Yeah, I don't think that changes anything, right? I'm fairly certain it doesn't. It looks exactly the same. So we'll just leave it on and see how it looks. I know when you're in-game, it definitely changes the way the build grid works, the way things look when you're trying to place buildings. Yeah. But I don't think it has an effect as an observer. So, again, guys, sorry, we did forget about the blue-red. But we'll have to just live with it because we're not going to remake a game for some colors. Of course, it'll be a little bit easier to differentiate later on, as both the finals and the third place match are guaranteed to be TVZ no matter what. So not a whole lot of mirror matchups to worry about.
Yeah, it's nice for everyone, man. Colorblind people, people that like StarCraft, people that hate TVZ. You know, everyone.
Everyone except the poor Protoss. Man, I gotta be honest, just a quick note about that. If you guys missed our round of 8 matches yesterday, the foreigners took it to the ace match pretty much every time. It was way closer than I expected it to be. And Lilbo was the only Protoss in this entire tournament. He's the only one in the qualifiers, the only one who got through with invites. I mean, he's the only one who made it to the round of 8 as well. I was expecting him to take that series off of Solar a little bit, you know, when it came 2-2 the way it did yesterday. So we very well could have had, like, Lilbo versus Impact. But sad to see that he didn't quite make it. It could have been a very interesting semifinals had that been the case, but yeah, poor Protoss out there. I've got nobody to cheer for.
Yeah. Not her fault, man. All the qualifiers were Zerg, okay?
This is, by the way, done with the assumption that I actually thought we would have 2 Protoss qualify through Europe. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, statistically speaking, some of the best Protoss are, like, residing in Europe when it comes to a lot of these qualifiers. You expect them to come out and play. I was just like, oh, 2 Zerg made it through. Okay, that's surprising.
And as I recall, our Korea qualifiers are actually quite small.
Yeah,
of course, everyone was getting prepared for the qualifiers.
Yeah, everyone was trying to do the SSL qualifiers, so it was a little unfortunate. But we had the double elimination brackets. That was actually a really fun qualifier. I rather enjoyed that. Although I'm not the biggest fan of double elimination for qualifiers, but that one I think worked out pretty fine. Of course, Impact was the one who qualified for the tournament, whereas Solar was invited. So that's kind of another dynamic to just throw into the kettle, I guess.
Can't remember who else was qualified. No, so the Zerg. That's all I know.
I was true, but he...
okay.
We invited Yoda back because he had got to the finals in both sides, the winners and losers, and he's also playing the other semifinals today. Jakshi as well. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened leading up to this. I mean, honestly, not that I've got anything against the semifinals. I think we had some really nerdy cool moments, and some of the best ones were from combination qualifiers and group stages. But either way, I mean, we finally have these going down. We've had a lot of mishaps with this tournament. I couldn't be more glad that at least it's getting to finish. Now we do have a couple links trying to scout. They're going to see a spine crawler come down, and I mean, this looks like a bit of a almost overreaction for a blind defense out of Impact here. But I mean, this map is so just not Zerg friendly, no matter which spawns you get when it comes to defending, at least.
Yeah, no way you're going to wall off anything. I mean, you can get like a wall up with your hatching or ramp, and that might help a little bit, but
yeah.
Wait, was it?
We did see someone do that. I think it was like TLO or somebody had tried to, not in these spawn locations, the other ones, wall off like horizontally.
I was thinking of someone who did it in these spawn locations, and I want to say it was Impact, but that could just be like, you know, bias, whatever. But it was like a full wall off. Like, it was desperate, and it was dumb, and it spent more money on like walling off.
Oh,
and
right,
just,
you know what? I remember now. The Evo chambers going, yeah, and then you kept building them back. Yeah, I don't know if that was Impact, but I remember what you're talking about now for sure.
Yeah, so like it can technically be walled off, I suppose. Like, you really want to get all like, you know, but no one really usually does it.
Well, as far as Impact goes, again, like the spine crawler is definitely perhaps a little bit heavier of an investment, but if he's going for faster Mutalisk, like I would assume he is, then this actually might end up working quite well, because Impact is also the guy who put down a ton of Muta versus Muta. I was gonna say a ton of spines if he smells roaches.
Yeah.
No fear.
I was gonna say, I thought Impact was gonna go for Spire as well, so I was like, oh, you're gonna bring up the whole fact that Kane was the ace match and Impact brought down Kane.
That was cool too. That was a really close series as well.
Yeah, and it was Muta versus Muta, and Impact looked really strong with it.
Well, the Spike are being moved here to the third base, but we haven't seen Mutalisk versus Mutalisk in a while, and I was actually flabbergasted. I know I've got a reputation for not being the smartest caster out there, but there's a lot of comments on Twitter afterwards. I had said how Carapace was better for Mutalisk, something I think a lot of people know outright. And it wasn't just one person, so I'm not outing anybody here, but like several people actually said, "Are you sure about that?" And I was like, yes. After casting like hundreds of Muta vs. Muta games, dead positive.
Where do you get all these Twitter? God.
Twitter, I don't know, fiends, lovers, haters. I don't know what word we're going for here, but
you just get so many comments on Twitter, I guess, about like anything and everything.
I think it's because I'm a lot more vocal about opinions. You're just kind of like,
no, I agreed with you, right? I was like, yeah, everyone knew that Carapace was better to do when it was Muta versus Muta every single game.
Yeah, oh, I loved it too. I tagged, I was like, hey, can we get a Ghost to Zerg player's opinion? I tagged Kane, and Penguin responds. I'm like, excuse me, Penguin, we asked for a good Zerg player's opinion. But no, okay, so there is going to be link fights going through this game. The Banelings are actually coming a little bit more aggressive than I thought they would out of Solar. He's definitely trying to cause some damage. Did cause a couple drones to fall back and got that spine crawler, but realistically speaking, this is going to be at the cost of his own third, and that, I gotta say, is a lot more devastating than any damage he was going to cause with those lings.
Yeah, I was gonna say, taking on the Spine Crawler is really good, you know? Later on, maybe Lings come back in, but not for losing a third. The Lings are still trying to dance around, but now both players' mutas are out. So, I mean, the Lings have to leave for now. They can always come back later.
Well, Carapace versus Carapace when it comes down to it first. Much better reducing damage. I think Glaveworm is producing damage, but we all know, tried, tested, and true. They're outside of like one or two very rare scenarios in ZVZ. Numbers for the Mutalisks matter the most. If you've got one Mutalisk over your opponent, it can very well be what wins you the game. Now, I think one of the things I am perhaps thinking about moving forward is we have those rare scenarios I mentioned before where you see somebody diverge off from Mutalisks. Like, instead of Spore Crawlers, you invest in the Infestation Pit. Instead of Spore Crawlers, you get Massive Queens. I don't know, but this fight for Impact is not going to go too well for him. He does have a Mutalisk that was in the main chasing something up here, so doesn't quite have everything on the front lines. And as stated before, all the Mutas in the world matter. One Mutalisk makes the biggest difference, and now it is 8-6. Not a great spot for Impact. But with his third base being up so much sooner than Solar's, he might be able to mend this.
Oh, don't take this fight. Your Mutas are still really low.
Yeah.
Well, that
I gotta take it back now. It's I didn't say anything.
That was really bad. I mean, when it was 6 versus 4, you can buy time, whatever, maybe you can bring that up, but now it's 3 versus 10. I don't know where the fourth one is, supposedly.
Transfuses are trying to do what they can to this, but no Spore Crawlers made underneath this. I think that's what kind of shocks me the most out of Impact. Like, I get not over-investing in Spore Crawlers, but one?
Yeah, well, it's so difficult in Muta versus Muta. There are a lot of like very small things that are very important, like having Lings underneath the Mutas when the Muta comes to fight. The inability to produce Banelings later on to defend your third against Ling attacks because Mutas will just snipe them. I mean, they're very, very small. And so, like, even like putting on a Spore Crawler is sometimes too much money away from your Lings. Only minerals, but still, it can be very important. So Impact has really lost that lead he gained from having such a faster third. And in fact, with 15 minutes versus 7 and no Spore Crawler, there's pretty much no way Impact comes back.
I'm going to have to agree with that. I mean, I want to root for this guy so much, but not even if he had upgrades would this matter. Good game's going to be called. Solar will take a game at number 3. Now taking a small lead in the series 2-1. We'll see if he can lock this down. But guys, I think we'll continue the trend of no ads here.